Hello, welcome back to Bristol News. Now at this point each night we put each of the 13 Bristol Mayoral hopefuls under scrutiny, reaching the parts that the other hustings don't. You can play your part. What do you make of the candidates? Get your comments and your questions in, please. Details on screen now. UKIP's Paul Turner is a Bristol boy. He spent the bulk of his career in the telecommunications industry. He was driven to politics by the MP's expenses scandal, would you believe? So, man of principle. He stood for the party in Bristol West in last year's general election, coming fifth with 1,940 votes. Enough to propel him to Mayor of Bristol? Let's ask him. Paul, welcome to the programme.
Good evening, yes.
Amazing, some people might think the number of people who stand for council or perhaps stand in a general election don't exactly set the world alight and yet think that they are perhaps the person to be Mayor of Bristol. What gives you that confidence that the people are going to come out on their masses and vote for you?
Well, I think that we are going to see a lot of people come out on this occasion on May the 5th to vote. And I think that I've started to, over the last couple of months, actually resonate with a lot of people and the problems that they have right across the whole city. And I think people are seeing a side to UKIP through me that they maybe didn't think was possible.
Is it UKIP? Because you talk about the job really being local people for local issues,
yes.
You know, and this sense of people knowing you and respecting you, so on. If it is for local issues, what are you bringing to the table that the others aren't? What is it that's going to propel you above the bigger names, if you like, in this race?
Well, I think I'm looking at things from a slightly different angle, from maybe a more practical point of view. I'm not for gimmicks or you know, jobs for the boys type thing. I'm a very plain talking, very plain thinking sort of person, and what I thrive on and what I've been doing for all of my life, working life, is finding very, very practical solutions to what are very, very serious and real problems.
Well, we'll hear one or two of those in just a moment, but it is also you as opposed to the current incumbent, isn't it? You're going quite strong on that. I know from your website, under the current mayor, this city has seen housing down, selling off our housing stock, transport in meltdown, vanity projects up. You mentioned no gimmicks. Is that directed at George Ferguson, for example? What are these gimmicks and these vanity projects that you're going to reverse or stay well away from?
Well, I think if you think about the city at the moment, when we've got best part of 200 people sleeping rough on the streets, maybe 2,500 to 3,000 that are in hostels, 20, 30
we'll come on to that,
room.
but what are the vanity projects that you're against?
Money has been spent on the likes of Make Sunday Special, the concept of which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but I'd like to see it more as a street party event that goes to the outer parts of Bristol and not just something that stays in the centre.
That's small beer. That can be developed.
It is small print,
I mean,
but it doesn't cost anywhere near as much money for people across the whole of Bristol can join in and have some fun.
What about transport in meltdown under George Ferguson? What do you mean transport's in meltdown over the last 4 years?
Well, transport in meltdown is very much a question of we've been seeing a problem with transport in Bristol coming for years. It's not a big surprise for anybody. It's not an easy issue to deal with. I fully admit that. But what I think we've seen over the last 3.5 years is a lot of almost gimmicky schemes brought into place as a cure for the congestion problem, and the reality is that they've had little or no impact. Resident parking schemes are brought in to stop commuters coming into central Bristol. That's just not happened.
I hate to set the flame alight in some ways here, but haven't they worked in a large proportion? Aren't a lot of people very happy with the residents parking schemes now? I mean, yes, they need tweaked. Yes, after the 6 months they need a bit more consultation. Some people are asking for more of them.
Some people are, and this is where I think things were introduced quite wrong in the first place. It was that I think the mayor had a vision of resident parking zones across certainly the most part of central Bristol, imposed with little or no consultation with local residents and local businesses. And what we've found since then, certainly last year, Bristol City Council's income from car parking has rose massively. So what we're seeing is instead of a massive reduction in the number of cars coming into the city, we still got a massive number of cars coming into the city. Numbers have hardly moved.
So what would you do? What would you do tomorrow to address that?
There are a lot of things that we can be looking at to reduce the number of vehicles coming in.
Like what?
I'm very much in favour of a very proactive car sharing scheme. I know there are car sharing schemes around at the moment, but all they do is encourage people to use cars.
Do you really think that the vast majority of people who drive cars in Bristol are going to start sharing their cars? I mean, it's a lovely idea, but in practical terms, and you're a practical man, Paul,
I am a practical man.
Do you think they're really going to go for that en masse that's going to make a vast difference?
Not en masse, but I think this is one of those solutions. And I think the problem needs many small solutions.
But it's also a George Ferguson thing, isn't it? He keeps saying that what is it, 88% of the cars that come into Bristol are single driver anyway. So, so it's one of his pet subjects. So
it is,
why are you different?
It's different because I've actually come up with an idea that might actually go some way towards reducing the number of cars, car share.
Well, that's been around for a long time, hasn't it?
It has.
It's there at the moment.
It has, but when was the last time it was aggressively promoted in Bristol? I don't think it has for many, many years.
But is it fair to say that the transport is in meltdown because of the current mayor? I mean, you've got the metro bus lanes going in. I think you'd get rid of bus lanes altogether, wouldn't you?
It's something that has been trialled in a number of cities across the country and has proven to be quite successful. So it's certainly something I'd want to trial in Bristol.
That's massive with metro bus coming, isn't it? The whole centre of Bristol now being changed to accommodate those bus stops and those bus lanes coming in. You'd get rid of them all, would you?
I wouldn't necessarily get rid of them all, but I think looking at bus lanes across the city, there are certainly parts of the city, roads in the city, very busy roads in the city, that do actually, buses moving in and out of the traffic, it does actually cause problems rather than solving them. And also, when you've got a lane that for a long period of time could be completely empty, not even a bus going down it, that we could have other transportation going down there instead.
Let me just ask you as well, almost going back to where you started with this practicality and the people who are listening to what you're saying, Paul, it's not just about local issues, is it? It's about devolution and talking to not only other authorities, but talking to other cities, talking to London and talking internationally.
Yes.
What sort of experience have you got to take that kind of role on?
Well, in previous roles in telecommunications, I've had a lot of experience of dealing with very big organisations like British Telecom, Virgin, and I've also done work with many of the political parties that we see now and large organisations around the country. And
I know you've been treasurer, haven't you, with a couple of organisations, with UKIP and what have you. So would the finances daunt you? I mean, this is the equivalent of running a major international company, really, isn't it?
It is, but I think you'll find that I don't think many of the candidates, if any of them, have got that sort of experience, not on that same scale. It is going to be difficult. This is where you think you've
got more business experience than the rest of the other 12
I've got an
candidates?
awful lot of business experience. I've been virtually working and in business since I was 17 when I left school.
It's a big personality job, isn't it? I mean, George Ferguson perhaps iconicized that, didn't he? If nothing else, love him, loathe him, you can't miss him. And he's been a centrepiece for the city right across the world. He brought a lot of good things, a lot of investment as well to the city. How would you emulate that? How would you be the person that immediately people are going to start recognising as the person who leads from the front in Bristol?
Well, I think firstly there needs to be an element of respect for the role, not just from my own personal point of view, but also respect to the electorate as well. And the first thing I think we need to make sure is that whoever the mayor is, that they actually are there to represent Bristol in the best possible way. And I'm not sure that going out in jeans and t-shirt type thing is the best way to represent Bristol, certainly from a business point of view.
Does it matter how you dress?
I think it does, depending on who you're speaking to. If you're going to represent Bristol abroad in particular, to other cities, you look at their mayors and they are always smartly dressed, they're always in a suit and tie. You look at businessmen, they are always smartly dressed. They expect to be dealing with people that know how to not only present themselves, but how to present a city, not only in a positive light, but in a very, very good light. It
hasn't done too badly, though, bringing European Green Capital. I know that had been broached many times, but the speeches and finally pinning that down and talking internationally gets a lot of good press. I don't want to talk about George Ferguson, I really want to talk about you, but whether or not it matters how you dress, I'm not quite so sure. But what he is selling it on, we've got about 30 seconds on this really, is saying, I do while others talk. Are you not more of a talker rather than a doer?
No, I'm very much a doer. I talk less than do.
Would you not get frustrated by the politics, though, where it's constant consultation? That's what Bristol's been held back by, hasn't it? Rather than getting on and getting things done.
In years gone by, that has been a really, really big bugbear, and it has actually been what's scuppered Bristol for many, many years. And I'm not for or against George, and yes, he has brought a certain something to the council from a decision-making point of view. But then again, that's what the role is.
Yeah. All right. Well, as with the others, the very best of luck with the campaign, and thanks very much, Steve, for coming into the programme.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Paul,
take care.
Thanks a lot. There we are, Paul, one of 13 candidates pleading for your vote on May the 5th, and here they are. You're getting to know each of them in our nightly head-to-heads, and you can catch up on those interviews that you've missed on our YouTube channel, where you'll find the candidates so far. Now, tomorrow it's the Independent Mayor Festus, Kuri Hinbu, same time, same place. I will see you then. From all of us here, bye-bye. Bye-bye.